Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and I have a really cute project for you today. My thought process when I came up with this was thinking about those last minute gifts. Maybe it's you realize you hadn't got anything for teachers, or you wanted just a little gift for coworkers. You're looking for that inexpensive gift that you could give to a number of people. This is perfect for that. So we all love hand sanitizer, and this is the Bath and Body type, and usually they have sales where you can get a really good deal. You can buy 5 and get a good price, and so I wanted to use this. So this is the little box that we're going to make to hold the hand sanitizer. So you could these boxes are so easy to make. You could literally just whip some of these out and put the hand sanitizers in there. They have some great Christmassy type scents that you could get, and just a really quick and easy, and then the recipient is just going to feel so special that you took the time to make this for them. Even though it's an inexpensive gift, it's just the kind of thing that will say wow because you took the time to make the box. So let's talk about what we're going to use to make the box. We're going to use Brightest Glow for the 'Tis the Season, and we're going to use the corresponding labels aglow. This circle comes out of that, and we're going to be using that for our 'Tis the Season greeting. We're also going to be using the layering circles dies, and let me show you that. So here's that, and you have the regular circles and the scalloped, and we're going to be using one of the scalloped. And as these are on the sheet, you know, it goes smallest, next smallest, next smallest, and then here. So it just goes back and forth in size. So we're of the larger set, we're using the second smallest, and that's going to make our circle fit really nicely. So that's what we're going to be using. We're also going to be using some of the gold satin edged ribbon. And then I'm using Evening Evergreen for my box base. And you could easily change these colors up if you were using something different. This is 3 3/4 by 8, and we're going to do some scoring on this and some cutting together. Then you're going to need some designer series paper. This is my top piece for the top of the box, and it is 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. Then for the sides of the box, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 7/8 by 2 5/8. And then for the front side of the box, it's 7/8 by 1 5/8. So, and if you don't have to write all these measurements down, if you hop on over to my blog, karenscardsandmore.com, I will have the card recipe posted on there. And so you'll be able to get all of the measurements, all of the products there. There'll be a link where you can shop and buy any of the products. So I'm featuring products that are in the mini catalog that expires at the end of December. If you don't have that, but you want to crank these out, you can use what you have. So instead of, for example, if you don't have this stamp set, but maybe you have a different stamp set that has some stars. Let me show you in this suite, there was a second stamp set that was Christmas lights, and there's some snowflakes. So maybe you have an older set, a different set that has some snowflakes, or like this little Christmas tree, and you want to use those because you don't have the set I'm using and you don't have the designer series paper. You don't have anything Christmassy. So you could take and you could stamp on your cardstock and create kind of your own look of designer series paper if you don't have anything that you want to use as far as the paper. So you could create your own. Just an idea there. Then we're also going to be using a scrap of basic white and a scrap of the glittery gold. Again, if you don't have the glittery gold that came in this suite and you have some of the gold foil cardstock, you could definitely substitute that. and that will work just fine. So let's go ahead and do our scoring and our cutting to get our box created. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And so we have a long side and we have a short side. We're going to start scoring on the short side. And when you look at your blades, there's a dark blade and a lighter one. The lighter one is for scoring, so make sure that you have your cutting blade out of the way. And we're gonna, on the short side, we're gonna put the short side to the bottom of the trimmer, and we're gonna go at 1 inch. So we wanna score at 1 inch. And then we're gonna go over to 2 3/4. And we're gonna make a score line there as well. Now we're going to turn it so that we're working on the long side. And we're going to score at 1 inch, at 3 3/4, at 4 3/4, and at 7 1/2. Okay, so we're done with our trimmer. So you can see that one end has just a 1/2 inch, the other side has 1 inch. We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to fold on all of our fold lines. So I always start with just folding them with my fingers. I said we were done with the trimmer, but I'm going to bring it back in a few minutes. So I'm getting the folds there with my fingers. And then I'm going to come back with my bone folder and just give them a good crease with my bone folder. Now, I just want to help beginning crafters. If you're new to making paper things and you're using a bone folder, if you press hard with this, you're going to get a shiny look on your cardstock. So if you tend to press hard, just take a scrap piece of paper and lay it, and this is a real scrap, you can see where I've been stamping with it, but just lay that over top before you run that across, and that'll help you not get that shiny look. If you do it light, you won't get that. And I know that sounds crazy when you're burnishing these to say do it light, but it just depends on how you do it, whether you'll get that shiny look. But you can always just put that piece of paper over there and that'll help. Okay, so we've got everything burnished, and now we're ready to do a little bit of cutting. So we're going to start, and I've got one more fold that I didn't do. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one in there, because we are going to need that. Okay, that looks better. So you've got 4 1-inch squares. So if you put the 1/2 inch on your right, you'll see 4 that are 1-inch squares. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with those, and I'm just cutting up to that other fold line, and then I'm just coming in and making a little just like a little triangle slit. It does not matter how big or how small this is. This is just to help it fold, the box to fold together a little bit easier. By mitering these corners, it just gives you a better fit. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, this does not have to be perfect. You do not have to measure these. We just want to get that little bit of miter on there. So I'm doing all 4 of those 1-inch squares. Now turn it and do the other side. We don't have a whole lot of stamping to do today with this project. We're just going to be stamping one thing. You could definitely decorate it up more if you choose to. Okay, I'm just going to pull my little tabs that I got. Okay, so this is what we're left with. Then, if you look at the 1/2 inch side, you've got 3 rectangles. We are going to cut off the end rectangles. So I'm just going to snip those off. We don't need those. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all these little scraps that I've got going on here. So we're left with this. Now here's where we're going to need the trimmer again. So the 1/2 inch end, that is your, got a little, just a little scraggly edge there that I want to get off. Okay, so the 1/2 inch end, that is going to be the lid that sits down in the rest of the box. So I want to trim these side pieces down a little bit, just to make it easier to fit into the box. So we're going to put this end up here, and I usually just let the, you can either let this just hang up there, or you can just use that up against the edge. Either way, we want to fold all these other pieces in because we don't want to cut those. But just off of this piece, I want to put it on the 1/2 inch line. So I've got my top piece up against the track, and I've got it set to 1 inch. Or 1/2 inch, excuse me, 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to cut that off, just like that. Then I'm just going to flip it over, and I want to do the same thing on the other side. So I want to fold these other pieces in, just like we did on the other side, and get those underneath there. And I'm going to put that up against the top of the track and slide this over to 1/2 inch. Now you could easily do this with scissors. I just like making sure I get it straight. If I try to cut with scissors, there's no way it's going to be straight. That's just me. So I'm going to make sure this is on the line. Okay, just like that. And then I'm just going to cut that off. So we just cut those side flaps in half because it's just going to make it easier to make the box go together. So then what we want to do on the edges of the lid, we want to do that same mitering. So I'm just going to come in and snip a little triangle on all 3 pieces. Just snip a little triangle. Again, it doesn't have to be much. It's just that mitering that helps the box not have so much bulk, and it just helps it go together better. So just got one more side to miter. There, now we have all of our sides mitered. Now this next part You could put the box together and then put our panel pieces on, our designer series paper. But I like to go ahead and get it on now. I just find that easier. So that's the way we're going to do it. So the piece that's 1 5/8 by 2 5/8, that is going to go right here on the front. Okay? And I'm just using, because I want to use Stampin' Seal Plus on when I put the box together, I'm just going to use that to attach this. I could pull out my regular Stampin' Seal for this step. You could use liquid glue for all of this, whatever works for you. Since I have my Stampin' Seal out, the Stampin' Seal Plus, I'm just going to use it. I'm just going to pop the cap off. I'm just going to get it started a little bit. I'm just going around the edges. Okay. And then I'm just going to place this right on here. Just want to make sure I've got it equidistant. Just like that. Now our other pieces, we don't want it to go on the lid, we want it to go on the sides, okay? So if you put the piece that you just put on at the top, we're going to be decorating these side pieces. So you should have 2 of the longer ones, which are 7/8 by 2 5/8, and then you have a shorter one that's 7/8 by 1 5/8. So we're going to do the same thing with those. We're just going to put some Stampin' Seal on these. And I'm going to turn it. It's just always easier for me to do it this way. And I did not get that very straight at all. I think since I didn't press it down too hard, I think I can lift it up. That's much better. So make sure which side you're wanting to put on there. So that you get the adhesive on the right side. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Just like that. And then we have one more that we want to put down. We want to put this right on the front here. Okay. It's going to go just like that. Now we're ready to put our box together. So you can start with the back flaps. You can do one side at a time. You can start with the front, however you want to do it. I usually like to do one side at a time, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with putting some Stampin' Seal Plus, and you definitely want to use a heavy adhesive for this part because you want your box to stay together. So I would not recommend just regular Stampin' Seal. I would use either Stampin' Seal Plus or your liquid adhesive for this. And then you want to make sure that you get these side edges together, that they're straight, and then just press the flap down with your thumb. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some Stampin' Seal on the other corner. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line the front edge up. Just like that. And then I'm going to press the inside down with my thumb. So there we've got the one side of the box put together. So we're just going to repeat that with this other side. And I'm going to have to set that down to do that, to put the adhesive on. And it's the same process. I'm just going to fold that in. Make sure I have those even. And press it down with my thumb. And then we have one more flap. I'm just putting adhesive on there. And we're going to do the same thing. Going to line the edges up just like that, and then press the inside down. And just like that, we have our box put together. So these flaps fold to the inside, and there you go. Isn't that cute? And let me open this back up. Your little hand sanitizer will just fit nicely in there. There you go. How cute is that? So let's go ahead and do our stamping. And we want to get our piece for the front. So I'm going to bring in a scrap of Whisper White. And I'm using Evening Evergreen for my ink. You could easily, if you wanted more gold, you could do this with gold embossing. You could do it with the Versamark and then use the gold embossing powder and have a different look that way. You could dress it up all kinds of ways. I want to make sure I get good ink on there. And I'm just going to stamp this down. There we go. And we're ready to do some die cutting and put the final touches on that. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Up! Mini. And I love this. This is really great when you just have little things that you want to die cut, especially for working on camera. So this is the one that came with the Labels Aglow, the circle that was in there. And I'm just going to put that on there. And I have found with the Stampin' Up! Mini, for whatever reason, sometimes it shifts easier on me. I don't know if you just saw that move. So if it's easier, you could just use a little bit of low-tack tape and tape that down, and that will keep it from moving on you as you put it through. So I'm going to run this through. Okay, just like that. So there we have our greeting part. And then we're going to use this again. And I'm going to use the scalloped circle that we talked about. And I'm going to use this glitter gold. And I'm just going to try to place it so I feel like I'm wasting the least amount of paper. Because you can always use it for something else. Okay. And I'm going to run this through. And there we have our scalloped gold piece that we're going to be using. So we want to put this, we're going to center it in there. So I'm just going to put some Stampin' Seal on this. And I'm just going to center it. Just like that. Now we're going to add some ribbon to the back. And what I did is I just turned it over and I just added some Stampin' Seal, just across a diagonal, just in the middle, to work with. And all I did for this, I wanted this to come out one side, and I left a little extra because I knew I could trim it. So I just have this coming out this side, and then I'm pressing it down in that Stampin' Seal, and I'm just pressing in and making some loops. Just like that. And then I'm going to trim this one off. Make sure I get my ends going the same way. And I can never do this the same way twice. This looks very different from the other one I did, and that's okay. It's just however you put them on there. There's no right way and wrong way. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals. And this would be a great place to use some of the border pieces off of your Stampin' Dimensionals that you never know what to do with. This is a great type of thing that you could use that for. And I'm going to put it even right over the ribbon. Just right over the ribbon, because that's going to help hold our ribbon down. Just like that. And then I'm just going to add a few other dimensionals just because I want to make sure that it stands up off of the box. And I want to make sure that we have good coverage on that. So I'm going to just pull off these pieces. One more to get off here. Okay. All right, we've got all of our backing taken off. Now we're ready to just put this on the front of the box. I'm gonna bring that in. And I'm going to open the box and lay it flat just because I want to make sure I can get this pressed on where I want it. And I think I'm trying to center it. I think that looks good right there. Ready to put this on so we're going to close the box back up just so we can look at it, and there we go. It's finished. You could, once you do one and get the hang of it, you could just really crank these out pretty fast, and you have a great little gift to give, like I said, to the school teachers, to co-workers, just anywhere you need to take multiples of something that's relatively inexpensive and you just want to jazz it up and make it very special. Hope you'll give this a try this holiday season. Check out my Facebook group, my Facebook page. Again, I have a blog, karenscardsandmore.com. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I will be back to craft with you again soon.